Good morning. You are on your hometown station, AM 1220 and 98.1 FM, KHTS.
Yes,
and this is
indeed.
the Terrell and Sharon Show.
Hey Sharon, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How about you?
Awesome, man. You know, it's a perfect day. Hey, we also got Patty in the house.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing, man?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Good. You're looking good too.
Thank you. I try.
All right. If you guys get a chance, you can see Patty. He is the
He's
angel
reflecting.
He's the angel that hovers over my shoulder.
He's in the Dodger uniform.
As always, it's Dodger Friday.
Yeah, hey man, I am excited today because, I get a chance to in my line of work, I get a chance to meet some really interesting people and some legends, and now I get a chance to work alongside one. And joining us today, Sharon, is a legend in his own right, living legend, Mr. Greg Adams. Greg, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, Terrell.
Hey, Greg. Greg Adams is one of the original members. You correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, of Tower of Power, and man, and just we just want to sit back and just absorb all of your experiences through your career. You've got quite a career that we've been reading on you.
Well, I survived, and I hope to continue to thrive.
Oh yeah, we're having a little bit of difficulty hearing you there.
A little bad connection
Really?
there.
It's
Greg.
kind of cutting out
okay.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you can move, kind of tilt
Tip
your
your
head to
head,
the
yeah.
right there.
Yeah. Move the
Yeah,
antenna
right.
a little bit.
Stand on one leg.
Is that any better?
That's perfect.
Perfect.
That's perfect.
Okay, great. I won't move.
So man, I mean, we've first of all, I'd like to say thanks for us building a relationship. We actually got a new relationship here now. I guess we'll get to that in a minute. And Sharon's eager to ask you some questions, but let's just say, how did it all begin? I mean, you still got those chops, man.
Well, I started at a very young age, and my family was musical, so it was kind of in my blood. And when I was 16, I had a great school. It's great public school education and a great music department and a great music teacher who let me kind of blossom and write for the high school jazz band and play in it. And then I went on to graduate high school and I went right from high school into Tower of Power. They had an opening. One of the trumpet players had left, and excuse me. And we were just they were in the studio, and we were just finishing up the first album, East Bay Grease, and so we overdubbed the horns, and I was in the band, and I was going to go to college, but I decided to, if I went to college for 5 years, I would probably want to be doing what I was being offered to do right now. So this is in 1970.
Wow.
And, so we did. I was in the band for 25 years, and we toured the world and played with everybody and did sessions with everybody in the horn section. And I was the arranger for the band, and so I did a lot of stuff with other artists. And in 1995, I decided I really wanted to do something different. I felt it was time to go in a new direction. So I left the band and immediately got a recording contract with Epic Records because that was the label that Tower of Power was on at the time. Mm-hmm. So they offered me a deal, and I recorded a single called Smooth Operator, which was the Sade song.
Wow.
It became a big hit on Smooth Jazz.
Wow.
So I embarked on that and did very well on that for several years. And then
yes, I bet you
Smooth
did.
Jazz kind of, I don't know, became kind of pigeonholed. I didn't want to be pigeonholed. That's why I left Tower of Power. I mean, I love Tower of Power. It's my legacy. But, so I kind of wanted to go back to where I came from. So that was like a large band with, with the big horn section and, just big. I like to orchestrate. Mm-hmm. So we've been doing this since 1995, different forms of a band, but now my latest venture, and has been for about 12 years, I guess now, 15 years, I'm being told, is a band called East Bay Soul. And nuttily and luckily, a man named Ken Green introduced me to Terrell not too long ago, and I was looking for a new singer. And Terrell came by the rehearsal and audition, and it was love at first sight.
Yeah, that's right, man.
So anyway, we're happy to welcome Terrell into the band now, and we are. I'm flashing forward right to the present. We're playing Vibrato in Beverly Hills this Sunday.
Yes.
And Terrell will be with us. We debuted with Terrell at Spaghettini a couple of weeks ago in Seal Beach, and it went real well.
It went really well.
And so we'll be at Vibrato on Sunday night, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And as we go along, I can give you some other dates that we're going to be at, and we got some nice shows coming up this summer, and so that's about it.
Yeah, we are definitely looking forward to. Hear more about the dates that we have in store. Man, and Greg, I would just like to say, wow, just the not just the talent up there, but just the type of guys that are on that in that band. Man, I'm just it is love at first sight, because it's just we just have a love fest up there, and we're having a great time. And I think that resonates with the audience. I think that's what, from my experience, that's what people felt at Spaghettini that day.
Well, it's a good chemistry. Most of the band's been together for quite a while. People come and go, but you have to. There has to be something that clicks, because you're going to be either traveling together or playing together or whatever. There has to be that that camaraderie, that kind of binds us together. So when we get somebody new, it's not just the talent. It has to be something else there, that you feel will meld into the band and to make everybody comfortable. Because some of us have been together for a long, long time, and some are still very new. So in a large band, it just means more people to make happy. But you have to give and give a little and get a little, so everybody gets along.
Yeah. You know what? Did you have a question here? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I've got a lot of questions.
Go ahead.
Let me start with, how did you choose? You said you started at a very young age. What was it about the trumpet that drew you to that instrument, that made you choose that instrument and then become so proficient at it?
Well, I picked up the horn. It was a cornet, the first horn I had. Okay. And I was 5 years old, and I kind of dragged it around. Until I was about 10, I started to get a sound out of it. And I was, like I said earlier, I had really good band programs in the public schools. And I went to junior high and then into high school. And my background also was with, I grew up in the Salvation Army, which has, don't laugh now, they have a big music program. And they sponsor music camps every summer. And so that's where I would go to music camp every year. And
we are having a connection problem, aren't we?
Yeah.
You still there, Greg?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Let's have him call back.
Yep.
Or we can call him maybe and see if we can get a little bit better connection, because this is really interesting. There's a lot of questions here and a lot of info to share.
Okay. All right. So Greg, if you can hear us, if you maybe just give us a call back, we're gonna just talk a little bit about actually something else that I'm excited about, and then we can.
Sorry.
There he is.
There he is.
Okay, Greg, you there?
Yeah, I don't know where I dropped out. I heard the beep, but the call failed. So
did I hear something about Salvation Army?
Yes.
Okay, start there.
So my parents were officers in the Salvation Army.
Oh, wow.
I'm on a board out here for the Salvation Army. That's so interesting.
And so they had band camps every they had summer camps. The Salvation Army has summer camps for kids that live in the inner city, and one of the camps was a music camp. And the Salvation Army has a big brass music program. Because it's an English organization, brass bands are real popular in Europe. And so that's how I started to play and learn music theory. And I do that every summer. And I started out in the D band, which was the lowest, the beginners. And then by the time I was in high school, I was playing first chair in the A band. And like I said, I had a great high school program with a great band teacher that allowed me to just really, bloom and write for the jazz band and stuff like that. So I was really getting into being an orchestrator and arranger and a composer. And so when I graduated, like I said, in 1970, I was really a professional musician by that point. I joined the Musicians Union at 16. And so I just had a knack for it. I enjoyed it, and it's not the easiest instrument to play. It's pretty physical, If you don't play it, you lose it. So I've just played my whole life. I mean, it's my life. If you do something you love, it's not work.
Right.
That's exactly right.
Now, Greg, you said that after Tower of Power, you were signed to Epic. So did you did several albums on your own, and then is that when East Bay Soul started?
Yeah,
Okay.
I had several solo albums, and
Okay.
they were smaller groups. And like I was saying earlier, with smooth jazz, got kind of pigeonholed and kind of got vanilla on
Right.
me. And so I wanted to do something else new. I mean, that's why I said I left Tower of Power, because I wanted to do something different with my life musically. And so, East Bay Soul came up, and we did by the time we did the record, the first record, I really didn't have a singer. I'd gone through a few singers, and they didn't work out. Just like I said, the chemistry wasn't there. And the first record, we had 3 vocalists on it, and none which were featured really. I mean, it was kind of like it wasn't a lead singer yet. We just had some songs, and we needed a singer. We eventually got a singer, and he's no longer with us, and that's why we have Terrell.
Yeah.
So,
And good choice.
yeah, I think
Very good choice.
Well, I'm happy about it.
I had the opportunity to see you guys at Spaghettini and was completely blown away. What a great show. And horns add so much to a group. And it was just funky and awesome. And the crowd absolutely devoured it. It was really, really good.
Yeah, we had
Well,
it. Go ahead, Greg.
we've been playing there for so many years,
Yeah.
and it's like that Spaghettini has gone through so many metamorphoses of where the stage used to be and where it is now, and the size of the room, and we've seen it over the years change, and it's always been a really good place for us to play. I mean, we draw a really excellent crowd and a lot of regulars, and we love playing there. It's one of those places where you just it's like a home base. We can go in there and we know we'll be appreciated for whatever we do, and sometimes we break out new material in there and stuff like that. So it's a great place to play.
Yeah, now another great place to play is Vibrato, and we're going to be there, as you mentioned before. We're going to be there on Sunday.
July 10th. Yes, it's going to be great. That's a wonderful club. We if you've never been there, you should really Google it and come out Sunday night, because it's not only tickets are available. You go to eastbaysoul.com and you can buy tickets there. The food is great.
The food is amazing.
So good.
Yeah, and they make a mean martini there.
Yeah.
I can attest.
I'll vouch
to that.
for that too.
Yeah, and the sound and production in the club is really great. I mean, it's owned by Herb Alpert
Right.
from Tijuana Brass, and so he really appreciates the musicians and wants to give them a great forum to present their craft, and so the production is really wonderful in there. So if you've never been there and you want to hear some good, great music and hear Terrell sing with the band, come out on Sunday night. It's a great show. It's early because it's a school night, and we always play there on a Sunday night, and it shows at 7:30, and we'd love to see everybody there because it really is a great place to see live music.
There you got a personal invitation from the legend, Mr. Greg Adams. And I tell you, I think we might have to go to a break soon, but I got a question for you. Because I know you toured the world and you've worked with different artists. I just need a story, like just one story that stands out, like, and that we'd love to hear right now about one of your experiences.
The Tales from the Road.
Tales from the Road, yeah.
Let's go to break, and I'll think of it. There's so many that I'll have to think of one. Okay.
Yeah. And now also we know that this week, did you hear that one of your friends had kind of passed out on stage there?
Yes, Carlos Santana.
Yes.
That was just the other night. I hear he's okay.
That's good.
We thought it was what it was. He didn't drink water. He didn't eat dinner. And I've been at that venue when the Tower Horns were playing with Huey Lewis and the News. It's Pine Knob Pavilion. I think it was Pine Knob Pavilion, just outside of Detroit. And excuse me. And at this time of year, the humidity in that region and the heat is just unbearable. It's like hotter than New Orleans and just as muggy. I mean, it's just you can't not do it. And I don't care how old you are, but when you get older, you can't not hydrate.
Right.
And it's easy to forget, I guess. But man, he's okay, but he said he forgot to eat dinner and drink a lot of liquid. And I remember when we were there with Huey, it was just oppressive because it's an outdoor venue. It's a shed, and it feels like it's going to rain any minute. And even at 9 o'clock at night, it's still unbearable. So anyway, yes, I'm glad to see Carlos as well. I remember one funny story that we were in the 70s. We were opening for Santana at the Fillmore East in New York City, and the billing was Santana, Rahsaan Roland Kirk, and Tower of Power opened, and we were playing. And while we were playing, Rahsaan Roland Kirk, he's the guy who played two saxophones at once.
Okay.
He's blind. He's really avant-garde. And Tower of Power was, basically a blue-eyed soul band. Nobody really heard of us yet. We had a record out, but, and Carlos had taken us under his arm, and we toured a lot with Santana in the 70s, and paid our dues out there on the road, and so while we're playing, Rahsaan Roland Kirk, his wife is up. They have like those opera boxes. This is a real old theater on the side of the wall on the theaters where people can look down on the stage. But she's yelling down at the stage, "Get those whiteys off the stage! Get those whiteys off the stage!" So much so that people are starting to take their eyes off the band and look at this crazy woman up there yelling at us. We're just trying to just get through the show because you're the opening act, and sometimes opening acts don't get a lot of respect.
Right.
Sometimes you're playing when the lights are still on and the crowd is coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's daunting sometimes. So anyway, that was crazy. But the funny thing about this was, before the opening night, I think we did 4 nights there. The first night, you go in and you do sound check, and then you get a few hours before the show starts, and then they haven't opened the doors yet. So I'm on one side of the stage behind the curtain, and on the other side of the stage, walking towards me, is Carlos with Miles Davis.
Oh.
And
Wow.
we meet like in the middle of the stage or the backstage, and Carlos says, "Hey, Greg, meet Miles Davis." And here I am. I'm probably maybe 19, 20 years old or something like that. And Miles Davis, wow. Really, I put out my hand to shake his hand, and a big smile, and he looks at me. He looks me up and down. Then he goes and walks away.
What?
He wouldn't shake my hand.
Wow.
And Carlos was like really anxious for me to meet Miles. And so Miles just walks away, and Carlos kind of stands there like, and kind of shrugs his shoulders. "Oh man, I'm so sorry."
Oh man.
I'm talking about a dejected moment,
Right.
But I'd never met Miles Davis before, and then I went on to learn that, he was kind of a how do you say it, bitch.
Oh yeah.
To most people, he wasn't known to be a nice guy. And later in the years, and maybe in the late '80s, I guess it was. We were playing the Nice Jazz Festival in Nice, France, and we did it 2 years in a row. And the second year we did it, Miles Davis was there, and we opened again. This time we opened for Miles, and he still was just, he wouldn't even talk to the audience. He had his back to the audience.
Really? Wow.
Pretty much all the time. And if anybody in the band took a solo, he would hold up a card, a placard with their name on it, instead of introducing them, after their solo.
Wow.
He wouldn't even speak.
Wow.
So
That's awesome.
he was a tough nut to crack, you know what I mean? But that's just one story
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
Greg,
that I can tell.
Greg, can you stay on with us?
Yes.
We're going to take a quick break. So on the phone with us is Greg Adams of East Bay Soul, and you're listening to your hometown station, KHTS, AM 1220 and 98.1. We'll be right back.
SCVI is a tuition-free TK through 12 charter school that gives your child boundless opportunities to think critically and imagine freely. We offer a customized learning program built around your child's unique interests and strengths, with the only International Baccalaureate program in all of Santa Clarita. Our approach keeps students and families in step no matter where your learning is taking place. Be empowered to make your mark on the world at SCVI. To take a tour or enroll now in our one-of-a-kind program, visit ileadsantaclarita.org. iLead Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
The KHTS Home and Garden Show is now accepting vendors for our 12th annual event on Saturday, April 29th and Sunday, April 30th, 2023 at Central Park. Get in front of 20,000 Santa Clarita homeowners. Join over 400 vendors at our Valley's biggest trade show. Hurry, space is filling up fast for certain categories. Many vendors call our show the best use of their marketing dollars. To register, visit scvhomeshow.com. Admission and parking are free. scvhomeshow.com.
People deserve a break on their cost of living, a break on everyday purchases like filling up their gas tank. This is Assemblywoman Suzette Valadares. I led a group of Republicans and Democrats in authoring a suspension of California's gas tax. Along with increasing American oil production, we can help struggling families now by hitting the brakes on the gas tax and lowering what you pay at the pump. We can move forward towards a more affordable future, something Californians desperately need, by taking thoughtful action beginning with the gas tax suspension. My opponent would rather your gas taxes stay high and keep energy costs more expensive. She supports backwards policies that punish commuters and make life more costly for you. Add to that, this past July 1st, Governor Gavin Newsom allowed another gas tax increase to take place. It's time for change. Californians deserve a break, a gas tax break, that will bring down the cost of living for everyone.
Paid for by Suzette Martinez Valadares for Assembly 2022.
Want to laugh at TMJ and that obscenely overpriced bike guard? Discover the 3 most common mistakes that must change to stop TMJ for good. Hi, I'm Dr. Thomas Pilecki, and WebMD chooses me as best chiropractor in functional medicine in Santa Clarita. Something to think about. So, when you're ready to get better, go to drpilecki.com. That's drpolucki.com to schedule your free consultation now.
Dr. Neil Green has been treating Santa Clarita patients and making them smile for over 35 years. As a child, Dr. Green had a fear of the dentist and disliked even simple checkups. Today, he's sensitive to your needs. If you have anxiety about getting a checkup, he understands your apprehension even if you've avoided the dentist for years. Discover the comfort of visiting a dentist with Dr. Neil Green. Dentistry is his profession. People are his focus. NeilGreenDDS.com. That's Neil, N-E-A-L, GreenDDS.com.
And you are listening to the Terrell and Sharon Show on 98.1 FM and AM 1220. Hey, you can also hear the show by downloading the free KHTS app or going online to hometownstation.com. Hey, joining us again is Mr. Greg Adams.
The legend.
The legend, yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, and we were just talking a little bit offline here. And I just want to ask you, Greg, you mentioned early on about your public school music program, and I already know that it was a big part of your career, getting you started and on the right track. But what would you say to public schools and schools in general that are looking at the music programs and arts programs and trying to decide if they're going to keep it around? And what would you say to those people?
Well, I talk about this all the time, and it's a great question. I have an answer for that. Public schools, when I was growing up, the arts flourished. I mean, they had marching bands, they had choirs, they had all kinds of vocals and contests and stuff like that. Nowadays, the first thing that has been cut is the music and arts department. And football, basketball, and they get new uniforms every year. And I remember when I was in high school, the marching band, even though we had a great department, if the jazz band was going to go to Reno, Nevada, we were in Daly City, California, which is just south of San Francisco. If we were going to go to a jazz band contest in Reno at the University of Nevada, we had to do fundraisers. We had to do everything we could do, to get the money to rent the bus to get us up there, to buy hotel rooms for the 2-3 nights we were going to be up there, and meals. And, it was a grassroots organization that had to do that. But, we made it. We did it. We won the contest. We won 4 years in a row that I was in there. And it was so important. And nowadays it just seems like music and arts just get so cut. And it's a shame. It's as important as any subject in school. Music is a language, and it's math, and it's so important. It's part of the growth period and growth thing. And like I said, music is a language, and we speak a language back and forth to each other when we're playing our instruments or singing our songs, and you communicate with people that way. And it's just like English. It's the language. And kids relate better to each other when they have that education, I think. I grew from it, and it is so important. And now, I hate to say it, because I remember when I was a kid, and I was a teenager when the Beatles came around. I remember older people were saying, "Oh, they'll never last." Oh God, that's not music. That's not. Ooh, they'll never last. And look at them now.
Right.
Now, fast forward. To me, I don't. Some of the music today that gets played on the radio, I don't get it. And I think that's because of a lack of education in music departments and stuff like that. You know, there's some great musicians here in Los Angeles that are session players and stuff like that, or just, you know, wonderful musicians. And they're a product of public education, just like I am, you know, but some of the you know, grungy and rap and all that kind of stuff, it comes from a lack of musical education. And just think how different it might be if some of those bands might have taken a band class when they were in school. But, you know, it's probably because there are no more band classes in school. It's kind of been decimated with all the budget cuts and the way the economy goes. And, you know, the arts are the first thing to get cut, it seems, and that's a shame. It shouldn't be that way. But I get off my soapbox and just say, you know, it's so important. It's as important as any other part of education is the appreciation. Even if you play an instrument in high school and you go on to be an accountant, or you know, you appreciate that. That's a part of your life.
Right.
So, and some of us, you know, take the ball and run with it and stick with it. So, you know, it's part of life. It's part of my life. It is my life. You know, music.
Greg, we're going to invite you out here to Santa Clarita. I'm going to find out when this competition is. It's called Rampage. And it is marching bands from several different areas in Southern California. And marching bands in the high schools out here have been pretty important. But to your point about deleting programs from high school, that is totally correct. So I'm going to keep an eye out for Rampage. And I think it's something that you might just enjoy hearing and watching. So,
absolutely.
You know, it's funny. If you take marching bands a little bit further to organizations called Drum and Bugle Corps, which are fabulous. It's like it can be 95 people on the field, and then they have a 13 or 14 piece rhythm section on the sidelines, and it's a cult almost of you know, it's so coveted to get into one of these organizations. They're all over the nation. And a real good friend of mine, his name is Al Ches, and he used to play trumpet on the David Letterman show in the band with Paul Schaefer. And he's a fabulous lead trumpet player. But he got his start, really, and he's very, very famous in this world of drum and bugle corps. And he's been a featured soloist with practically every one of them. They fly him all over the country to do this. And he's like a how do you say, honorary member of that whole cult. So, and that's really a great thing. I mean, that's pretty spectacular. And people, they do it on a football field because they need that much room, and they do all kinds of, you know, formations, and it's marching and all. It's crazy. I mean, and the discipline that they demand and it takes is you got to. It's like I said, it's almost like a cult. It's like a lifestyle.
Oh yeah, and, man. I remember being in a marching band. I played tenor sax in a marching band. I haven't got a chance to tell you that yet. But man, that just not just playing the instrument or being a musician, but that entire experience, the fellowship. I mean, that still helps me even deal with people the way I do. I make decisions on how to deal with people. It was just the entire experience. It was just
discipline.
That absolutely.
And being involved in something in high school, I think it gives you a little more focus and a lot less time to come up with other things to do that maybe aren't as productive. So
And speaking of experiences and fellowship, going back to East Bay Soul. And did you get your question answered about that?
No, you know what I've asked this. I actually asked this of you, Terrell, and so I said, you know what, I'm just going to go right to the source and ask Greg. Tell us about the naming of your band, East Bay Soul. Where does that come from?
My solo career, it just had been Greg Adams. And, when I wanted to start this new larger ensemble, I thought it really needed a name as opposed to just being me and a bunch of sidemen, and because the band is not sideman, we're equal in our musical contributions in this whole crazy thing called East Bay Soul. So, Tower of Power, which is my roots, was from Oakland, California, which is called the East Bay.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
we were trying to think of a name, and I'm not sure it wasn't me who came up. It might have been my wife, Andrea, who came up with the name East Bay Soul, and it stuck. And because of Tower of Power and my sound with the horn section, and it's kind of like my identity, it kind of went back to the roots of that area. And there were a few bands that were from the East Bay, Oakland, in the 70s, that were, the big soul bands and stuff like that. And so it kind of made sense to kind of take it home. And so it stuck, and so that's pretty much how it came to be. The first Tower of Power record was called East Bay Grease. So I kind of borrowed and a little bit from it. So that's how it came about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that explains everything.
That does explain it.
And even going back to with the band itself, I'd like to just talk a little bit get you to talk a little bit about some of the relationships you have there, and specifically Nick Milo. I know you and him are in the studio working hard on our next album, and I hope I get a chance to participate on that one. But how'd you and Nick meet?
Well, it's funny. I was on the road with Tower Power horn section. We were backing up Huey Lewis and the News. And Nick was in a band with a singer. Her name is Bonnie Hayes. And her brother, Chris Hayes, was the guitar player in Huey Lewis and the News. So I guess because of that, Bonnie got on the bill to open for Huey Lewis and the News for a segment of maybe one of the tours we were on. We always had somebody else, be Robert Cray or Bruce Hornsby. Or this segment was Bonnie Hayes. And Nick was playing piano with her.
Yeah,
and Nick and I met. He came up and introduced himself to me because he admired Tower of Power. And so we hit it off. We became very fast friends. And Nick's a fabulous keyboard player, great classical, jazz, funk, everything. He does it all. So over the years, Nick, a keyboard slot in Tower of Power became open, and Nick auditioned and was accepted and was in the band for several years. So Nick and I were, it's funny, we were thick as thieves. We called ourselves, one tour in Europe, we called ourselves the Bolognese Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were always looking for a spaghetti bolognese.
Oh, yeah.
In every city. And, the best one we ever found, funny, was in Helsinki, Finland, of all places. You'd think it would be in Italy because of Bologna. And no, this one was, and not only was it in Helsinki, Finland, it was in the cafeteria of a department store in downtown Helsinki. It just turned out to be a fabulous a recipe for it.
Boy.
Anyway, Nick was in Tower. I left Tower. He stayed in Tower for a while. And after I left, they got a new drummer named Herman Matthews.
Oh, yeah.
And he was with them for a few years. And now Herman is playing in East Bay Soul.
Yep.
So we have 3 alumni, and so it's kind of full circle. And I never played with Herman until he played with me in East Bay Soul.
Oh, okay.
But it's a great group, and and then like a little side story, our baritone sax player Johnny Beaumont, he filled in for Doc Kupka, the Barry player in Tower of Power, for a few times when Doc needed a little time off. And so Johnny Beaumont, he plays tenor, alto, and Barry, and he's filling the Barry. So he's kind of an alumni also, if you look at it sideways.
Yeah.
And we went to high school together.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And so I graduated in 1970, and he graduated in 1969. So you do the math. We've been together over 15 years in some form of musicality. Our paths always were crossing. So, and Johnny has been with me since I started my solo career. He's been playing with me.
Okay.
And so we can't shake each other, I mean, and then he was in Huey Lewis in the News after the Tower Horns left, and it's a family tree of craziness. But
that's awesome.
So it's a great experience. Like you got to see this band to believe it. It smokes, and so
I'll vouch for that. That's true.
Hey, Greg, we're going to take another break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about the schedule, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Stick around a little bit longer.
I'm
okay.
here.
You're listening to your hometown station, AM 1220 and 98.1 FM, KHTS.
The shows must go on. The Main in Santa Clarita is your destination for free online music, theater, art, and entertainment opportunities. Tune into fun variety nights, join a talent show, learn from filmmaking experts, attend a modern play, and more from the comfort of your home. For more information and to view upcoming events, go to facebook.com/The Main Newhall or at themain.org. Enjoy the shows.
Coming to the Canyon, Mark Varner's American Band, The Motels, Robbie Krieger, Corey Feldman, The Smithereens, Faster Pussycat, Richie Kotzen, Stephen Piercy of Rat, Bullet Boys, LA Guns, Asia featuring John Payne, Marsha Ball, Young Dubliners, Ambrosia, The Spinners, Eric Gales, and so much more. Country nights every Thursday. The Canyon is the perfect place to host special events. Call 888-645-5006. Book yours today. The Canyon, Santa Clarita, where music meets the soul. Tickets available through access.com.
Welcome to the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, where life-changing moments happen daily. Set out on safari and discover 1,800 acres of sprawling savannas teeming with wildlife, as well as world-class botanical gardens. There's no place like it on Earth. Encounter rhinos, giraffes, wildebeest, and large herds of wildlife roaming together. Journey through the bamboo forests and come face to face with Sumatran tigers. Hop alongside kangaroos and dive underwater to meet the only two platypuses outside of Australia and experience the awe-inspiring giants of Elephant Valley. When you're here, you'll discover adventure is in every moment, and a moment can change a lifetime. For your family's ticket to fun, visit San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance.org. That's San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance.org.
Why did Mercedes-Benz of Valencia win the Dealer of Excellence Award in 2019?
Because we strive to provide the most outstanding sales experience.
Mercedes-Benz of Valencia COO Chris Paz.
We know you have high expectations. Our stellar team will meet and exceed your expectations. That's why we were named Mercedes Best of the Best, placing us in the top 10% of all Mercedes dealers nationwide.
Find out how you can lease a new Mercedes for unbelievably low monthly payments. Details at mbzvalencia.com.
All righty, and you are listening to Terrell and Sharon Show on 98.1 FM and AM 1220.
You know, as we're on break and we're chatting, I wish we could go like another hour.
Another hour, absolutely.
There's so much to talk about with you, Greg.
Yeah, because we were talking about Nick Milo and how he was music director for Joe Cocker.
Yes, the late Joe Cocker, and they were very dear friends, and it was a big chunk out of Nick's life, and they toured the world. I mean, you know, Joe Cocker was this global.
Absolutely.
And they would go to, you know, they'd tour Europe, and Nick tells this story where Joe really didn't like to go to Russia, but they would get hired for these private parties in Moscow. And it would be like the tour would be so expensive that the Russians would pay for this private party, And it basically, Joe said, okay, here's the deal. We don't like to go to Russia, but this one show is going to pay for the jet that's going to fly us all over Europe for the tour. So they had to do Russia.
Do you know what I'm hearing from you, Greg, is just how small the world is of musicians actually in the world, and with the number of musicians, because one's connected to the next, and there's just so many different connections.
Absolutely. Nick never recorded with Joe Cocker, but I had never met Joe until I got a call to do a session with Joe. And it was the funniest record date. We were all in one room. It was Mike Finnegan on B3, who played with Joe. And the horn players were Tom Scott and Chuck Finley and myself. And if you look at it from left to right, it was, right to left is Mike Finnegan on our organ. And we're about 10 feet away were the three horn players. And then on the left side was Joe with a microphone and a little baffling, to kind of separate him a little bit. But we all played live, including Joe sang live on this track that the rhythm track had already been recorded. It was chaos, but it was beautiful. I'd never done any kind of session like that before, where it's, the singer sings a song in the same room.
Right.
Usually you put the singer in the ISO booth because you don't want to. If you get a good take on the singer, well, you can fix the horns or you can fix the organ.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was the craziest situation. But that was the one and only time I met Joe, and he was one of the nicest guys.
Well, I guess that's because you're all so good, right? It could just go live and.
Hey, Greg,
we pulled it off. It was kind of, we kind of flew by the seat of our pants, but we got the job done. But anyway,
awesome. Hey, Greg, we got about 3 minutes, so I want to talk a little bit about our schedule, and I know Sharon.
Okay.
Quickly, you mentioned live music, so I had the opportunity to see you guys live. Tell me about some of the music that's in your set list and where that's come from, because these are all originals.
Yeah,
or for the most part.
For the most part, yeah, we do. I did an arrangement years and years ago for Luther Vandross of "You've Got Me Going in Circles," and so we were playing it live, and it was so popular with the crowd. People said, "Why don't you record that?" So we did. I just got my arrangement that I did for Luther out, and it was in the right key for the singer, and so we did it and recorded it, and it's like a big part of the show. Terrell nailed it.
Oh my gosh! I mean, the people were standing on their feet and screaming, and I'm not kidding because I have it on video. So you guys killed that song, and Terrell sang the heck out of it.
It's a big part of the show. So and we do a song called Burma Road, which is an homage to my father, who was a missionary in Burma during the Second World War, and. We also do a cover of "Let's Stay Together" by Al Green, and we did that. I did that arrangement for a David Letterman show where Al sang on the show once on an anniversary show. Tower Horns used to play with Paul Schaefer in the World's Most Dangerous Band when Dave was still on NBC. So I've known Paul forever, and then Dave too, and so that was a big part of my life also. Paul and I have been were nominated for an Emmy for an anniversary show for David Letterman years ago, and I just had Paul Schaefer do a little video for us.
I saw that.
For our show in Oakland, California at Yoshi's. So if you go to my Facebook page, you can see Paul. He's my dear old friend. He shilled for me and to get folks to come to the show in Oakland.
Well, Patty's holding us to task here. He's only given us about 90 more seconds. So
okay,
let's go.
I can do a wrap up on the dates. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Tuesday and Wednesday, July 19th and 20th, we're at Jazz Alley in Seattle, Washington. And on July 21st and 22nd, that's Thursday and Friday, we're at Yoshi's in Oakland. All these shows are at 8 o'clock. And then on August 20th, Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock, we're in Laguna Beach, the Festival of the Arts. And that's a great, great venue. Beautiful. You've got to come out. It's worth the drive, folks. It's really beautiful. And then on to the future, October 22nd, that's Saturday. We're playing at 2 o'clock on Catalina Island at the Jazz Tracks Festival. That's a big one. It's in the Avalon Ballroom. It's gorgeous. It's a great little boat trip across the sea, and it's a wonderful show. So please, I hope I got it all in.
And don't forget to meet us at Vibrato this Sunday.
Yeah,
we're with
Vibrato.
We're with Greg Adams here. Greg, thanks so much for joining us here today, man. You
my
are
pleasure, Terrell.
love you, man.
I love you too. I'll see you Sunday night.
See you Sunday night.